Welcome back, College Baseball Central fans. We're back for another preseason preview. Welcome back, fellas. I'm joined today by Noah Darling and Jake McKeever. Well, we're going to get the show started here. So we rank all the teams here. So those of you who have not watched one of our preview shows, we start with 13, and we're going to go down all the way to 1 here for the Big 12 since there's 13 teams now. Number 2, Texas. Texas has a lot to like this year. Tell us about this Texas ball club.
This almost feels like a low ranking for how I view this Texas team. I mean, they're one of the most talented rosters in
Number
all of the Big
2.
12. I think they should be one, far and away one. I mean, they get Jared Thomas back, who really is kind of a throwback first baseman, almost like a Mark Kotze type that can really spray it all over the field. Really kind of a different mindset than how they were with Ivan Melendez, the Hispanic Titanic. And he's just done a great job kind of backfilling that. Maybe the most talented pitching staff in the country. I mean, LeBaron Johnson, that was a guy that I thought that they were going to lose to the draft. They get him back. I mean, down the stretch, he had just lights out stuff. Tanner Witt, how much are we going to see him? I know we saw him in very, very limited action, and his fastball velocity was definitely down. So how they kind of use him and which Tanner Witt we see. And lastly, David Shaw worked his way out of the bullpen and being in that weekend rotation by the end of the year, how they use him as well. And then lastly, who's kind of the unknown that breaks out for Texas this year? I mean, we've seen Peyton Powell, Mitch Daly, Murphy Staley. They just seem to be loaded with guys who you don't seem would be like in the starting lineup, but just, hit 350, 360 and forces, Coach Pierce to put them in the lineup. But again, I think that this is the year that Texas returns to Omaha, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them very, very deep in this tournament.
If you're talking about a guy you think could break out, I have Jared Thomas. I think that he's going to build off that fantastic freshman season coming back out this year. He could be that guy that steps up and is huge. Peyton Powell's a dude, right? 16 home runs, 340 average last year. Look for transfer right-handed pitcher Grant Fontenot. He's coming in from junior college. He was great in the junior college ranks. I'd like to see him really stepping into this role, possibly out of the bullpen, maybe being something that solidifies that middle innings for these guys. Texas is great this year. No, I know you've been shaking your head a little bit because you think the number 2 ranking might not be there. I mean, you're giving us a little bit of the head nod here. What's going on?
Yeah, there's no disrespect to Texas. Obviously, a great program built on pitching. Jack O'Dowd and Porter Brown as well are back for this Texas offense.
Wait, Porter Brown's back?
Yeah.
Was he like a ninth-year senior?
Yeah.
323, 12 homers,
TCU legend.
As Porter Brown is back.
But yeah, it's just funny that Jake says all these things about Texas out in the open, and behind closed doors he'll be like, "Oh, this team sucks," but then they'll come out and jinx them on air and be like, "Oh, look, I was right either way." So he plays both sides. It's unbelievable what we do with this Texas team. And he wore the Tennessee, but he thinks it's a Texas shirt. So it's all these angles that he plays that we do it all year long, and we're starting in December. I'm just excited to see it between now and June and see how bad it gets.
That's fair. It is definitely a horns up program this year. I think that this team is going to be really, really good and fun to watch. It's going to come down to pitching, right? So if Tanner Witt can be that guy, and they've got LeBaron Johnson Jr. already, that is a 1-2 punch that's going to be really tough to compete with as far as the Big 12 is concerned and into the tournament.